Good evening, everyone. Okay, boys and girls, it's time to start. I'd like to welcome everyone and welcome to the PQP Part 2 candidates who are joining us tonight and their instructors, Ryan LaRose and Jody Preble. Welcome. This evening we have Vice Chair Cindy Simpson and Trustee Spencer Warren joining us virtually. Good evening. And we're going to start with the land acknowledgement. Carol.
As we gather today, with gratitude and respect, we acknowledge that we are located on the sacred land and traditional, unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. We honor all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land and across Canada. We strive to be accountable by acknowledging this history and cultivating respect in our relationship with our Indigenous neighbors and the land. We are grateful to have the opportunity to be present in this territory to pray, learn, work, and grow.
Thank you. Father, can you lead us in prayer?
Okay. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. In Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, it begins with the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. And blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness. The word blessed means happy. This is the thesis statement for the Sermon on the Mount. It's about us finding true happiness, peace, and fulfillment. In the middle of the Sermon on the Mount, we receive the three pillars of Lent: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. They are tools to help us achieve happiness, joy, and ultimately eternal life. Let us pray. During this season of Lent, may we employ the three spiritual practices of prayer, fasting, and generosity to find happiness by desiring the good of those entrusted to our care and praying for each other as we serve the Ottawa Catholic School Board in our meetings and deliberations. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. We remember in our prayers the following persons who have passed away: the students and staff members who lost their lives in the devastating shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in British Columbia, the young student at the Ottawa Carleton District School Board who tragically died at the Vorlage Ski Hill, Carolyn Bennett, former teacher, Nancy Room, former educational assistant, Cyrus Asadalahi, father of Shabnam Asadalahi, ESL instructor in the Continuing and Community Education Department. Randall Bethune, father-in-law of Laura Bethune, officer in Leadership and Parent Engagement Department. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in peace. Amen.
Please stand for O Canada. And there will be no gold medals handed out. Father, faith and focus.
Faith in focus today. This month's spiritual theme focuses on building bridges across generations, the moments where connections, understanding, and care have spanned ages, experience, and perspectives. Next slide, please. This month, we honor the wisdom of our elders and fresh perspectives of the young. The focus of this month's theme is not about just looking back or looking ahead. It's about learning from one another right now in the space we share today. Building bridges across generations begins with simple gestures, listening to a story, asking a question, or making space for a voice different from our own. These small moments matter. They remind us that every person carries something worth sharing. When we open ourselves to both memory and possibility, we begin to create a bridge that connects all members of God's family, spanning time and understanding. Next slide, please. In the classroom, stories of faith connect different generations. Whether it's the religious education consultant partnering with a new educator to co-teach a lesson, or a high school student mentoring kindergarten learners. Together, they bring our story to life, building relational bridges that carry our shared faith from one generation to the next. Next slide, please. The NTIP team, in partnership with the religious education team, gathered with new educators to unwind, connect, and prepare for Lent. Through hands-on activities, story sharing, and a shared meal, the evening retreat nurtured faith and a sense of vocation, helping everyone prepare their hearts for the season of Lent and the call to serve in Catholic education. Next slide, please. Building bridges across generations supports the Indigenous education team's commitment, along with many across the OCSB, to honor the principles of 7 generations. By bringing elders, students, and community members together, schools integrated lived Indigenous perspectives into classrooms and everyday learning. Whether it's Elder Terry visiting grade 1 to 6 during elementary student winter gathering, or the recent Indigenous Student Forum, with community partners, intergenerational learning continues to grow in significance. This work invites us to renew our commitment to listen, learn, and grow together as we work toward reconciliation. Next slide, please. Okay. Maybe back one slide. In a tangible way, the ongoing efforts of multiple generations working together shows that important work extends beyond a single lifetime. Each generation reminds us that God's promises endure over time and that every life is part of a larger story. Our actions today shape the lives of those who come after us, just as we are shaped by those who came before us. As we enter into the Lenten season, repentance and renewal, we are invited to also notice the bridges that have been broken in our relationships, in our communities, and within ourselves. Building bridges of mercy and reconciliation begins with honesty and courage. It calls us to reflect on where we may have caused pain, where we have been hurt, where God is gently inviting us to make things right. This Lent, we pray for the grace to forgive as Christ forgives us, and for the strength to seek reconciliation where there has been hurt or division. May this Lenten season lead us to healing, peace, and new beginnings in our relationships with God and one another. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Polly. We have no delegations. Can I get a mover for the approval of the agenda, please? trustee Coburn and trustee McEwen, that the agenda for the regular board meeting of February 24th, 2026 be approved as presented. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item E, school student departmental profile. Memo from the superintendent of learning technologies leveraging digital for common assessments and EQAO preparation. Welcome, Superintendent Edwards. Welcome, Nina, Sarah, and Patty.
So good evening. Through you, Mr. Chair. It has long been understood that data and feedback require several elements to be effective. It needs to be proximal to the learning. It requires specificity. It should be measurable and actionable. Data should not be data for data's sake. Rather, it should inform practice, which allows instructors to adjust for individual and class need. This is often an aspirational goal. Tonight, on behalf of Learning Technologies and Elementary and Secondary Student Success Departments, I'm excited to introduce Nina Carlucci, Sarah Lawrence, and Patty Luxton. They will share two stories. The first, the innovation we developed with our vendor partners, Wayground AI and Magma AI. And second, how common assessments will impact and have impacted our board-wide practice. With that, I will turn it over to the team.
Good evening. EQAO assessments provide essential data that helps Ontario identify achievement gaps and ensure the provincial curriculum is being delivered effectively. These scores serve as an accountability tool for the public education system while guiding data-driven improvements in student learning. 2022, EQAO moved from a standard pencil-paper assessment to a digital platform. Due to this shift, Learning Technologies and the Elementary Student Success Department wanted to provide a space for students to practice this form of assessment in a similar setting, to boost confidence in their test-taking skills. When we looked at our digital tools, we wanted a focused, accessible space for students and intuitive data for our teachers. We chose Wayground because it's distraction-free and looks very similar to the digital version of EQAO. By using official practice materials, we mirrored these questions in the platforms so that our students could master the how of the platform and long before the real test begins. In math, we use the application Magma Math. While it looks different than EQAO, it's a space where students can truly do math in a digital setting. AI is integrated throughout these two platforms to enhance instructional precision. Wayground utilizes AI to streamline the evaluation of student work, providing our educators with immediate student data. AI in Magma acts as a diagnostic engine, identifying misconceptions across curriculum strands. Together, these tools provide us with actionable data to refine teaching strategies and ensure that every student's learning gap is addressed in real time, turning numbers into a roadmap for our teachers, administrators, and board support teams. This was not simply just a plug and play rollout. These tools have actually evolved to fit the OCSB by taking feedback directly from our classrooms and working closely with our vendors. We helped upgrade these platforms through student and teacher voice. We've officially moved past a trial phase to a system-wide rollout that now provides OCSB with a bigger picture of our students' strengths and next steps. Although these tools are incredible, we knew that the best tools wouldn't work if they were hard to use. So we focused on creating robust resources that included two must-haves: making the tech user-friendly and making the data useful. To take the stress out of learning these applications, we built uniformed, accessible resources filled with video tutorials, written and visual instructions for the classroom that included common errors from a student and teacher perspective for both Magma and Wayground. This needed to be intuitive whether a school or a teacher has used these apps for years or is just starting out. We made sure that they have a how-to guide ready to go. We didn't stop with just the classroom. We've also been working closely with our principals and vice principals to ensure that they have access to the data in their schools by providing professional development and how-to videos as well as guides on accessing these platforms and the data. This is all incredible, but the real win here is that these platforms provide insights at not only a school level, but a board level, which gives our board teams the ability to see where in the curriculum, along with which schools need that extra support long before EQA even starts. It allows us to be proactive rather than reactive. Both Magma and Wayground transform assessment from a static grade to an actionable data set. As you will see, the excitement around this data is contagious.
Thank you, Nina. On the screen is the Wayground student view. You'll notice the layout is intentionally identical to the EQAO platform with the passage on the left and the questions on the right. While this example shows a multiple choice question, when a student is asked for a written response, the writing space appears in that same spot. To provide a true representation of what students can do, Wayground's AI uses a writing rubric we created to award partial marks. This moves beyond a simple right or wrong result, giving us a much clearer picture of student progress. Because the platform looks and feels the same as the real test, students do not have to worry about learning a new layout. By the time they reach the provincial assessment, they are already familiar and comfortable with the system and can focus entirely on their work. By working closely with Wayground and using direct teacher feedback, we have helped shape a platform that is inclusive for every learner. This partnership allows seamless differentiation, giving educators the flexibility to set up accommodations such as read aloud, text-to-speech, extended time to match a student's IEP. We are ensuring that students are fluent with the specific tools they need for their own success. This slide highlights 2 of the 4 ways educators can analyze student performance after each common assessment. The top image is a participation view. This monitors individual student progress over time. As you can see, a teacher receives instant feedback on how a student performed for each question. The bottom image is the question view, which serves as a powerful tool for whole class review, enabling teachers to address common misconceptions anonymously and maintain student privacy. These insights empower educators to make data-informed decisions in a timely manner so that all students are being supported in their preparation for EQAO. At a glance, system leaders and principals see data in multiple ways. On the screen, you are looking at 2 different views. One by specific literacy skill, and one that gives an overview of how students performed on their practice test. When systemic challenges emerge, such as a district-wide gap in inferencing, the literacy team can proactively create targeted resources. Furthermore, if the data identifies specific trends within a school, we can leverage learning partners to support students and/or teachers. Just an example, this morning when I logged in, I was pleased to see that both grade 3 and 6s across our school board are doing very well with their vocabulary skills. This data-driven approach ensures that interventions are both precise and system-wide. I will now hand things over to Patty, who will highlight what is happening in math.
Thank you, Sarah. The image on this slide displays a common assessment question from the student version of Magma Math. Similar to the literacy assessments, the Magma Math environment is specifically configured to mimic the digital EQAO interface. While Magma Math typically offers a wide range of instructional tools, we have intentionally restricted certain features for the grade 3 and 6 common assessments to help students build familiarity with the specific tools permitted during EQAO testing. However, essential accessibility features remain fully active, including text-to-speech, language translation, and the embedded calculator. To prepare students for the variety of interactions they will encounter during EQAO testing, these assessments include a strategic mix of multiple choice, multi-select, and drag-and-drop question formats. The provided screenshot here illustrates the data available to teachers and principals at the school level within Magma Math. The interface allows educators to pinpoint trends and identify specific strengths or areas of need, whether looking at an individual student, a specific question, or an entire curriculum strand, allowing for differentiation. The Magma Math platform uses embedded AI to identify misconceptions by automatically highlighting common errors, by identifying proficiency by grouping student work that meets or surpasses provincial standards, and to visualize progress by providing heat maps that offer administrators and teachers an instant, easy-to-interpret snapshot of class-wide performance. EQAO provides school districts with high-level data organized by math strands. While this offers a helpful big picture of student performance, effective assessment requires a deeper dive into substrands. For example, within the algebra strand, we must analyze specific performance in patterning, equalities and inequalities, and coding. In an effort to determine any gaps at a system level, the common assessments are purposefully designed to include questions from every substrand. Once students complete these baseline tasks, the results are analyzed to identify specific trends. This data then drives the creation of targeted bridge content to support student growth in areas of need. To ensure consistency with the EQAO format for grades 3 and 6, both assessments and supplemental support materials utilize a mix of 3 question types: knowledge and understanding, application, and thinking. We'd like to conclude by highlighting the incredible bridge building that has occurred across our departments. By keeping student success at the heart of our work and by listening to our teachers' voices, we have refined our platforms to be both more inclusive and effective. We're hopeful to see an increased uptake this year and use the data as a roadmap to support students, teachers, and provide the system with targeted resources. Thank you.
And through you, Mr. Chair, we're prepared to take any questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Questions or comments? Jade?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I just had a comment. I just want to say how amazing it is to see how many great tools there are nowadays. When I was in grade 3, I always had literacy problems with EQAO, so it's amazing to see how we're focusing on working alongside AI instead of going against it. So I just want to point out how important it is that our board is taking that step forward with working alongside AI instead of going against it. So thank you.
Trustee Simpson?
Thank you very much for the presentation. This resource is awesome, and the ability to differentiate with students and getting system-wide data is only going to make us more successful. As with all new resources, I'm worried about teacher uptake. So could you describe some of the plans you have to assist teachers taking this tool and basically embracing it and apply it to their classroom planning?
Through you, Mr. Chair, in terms of math, we have been providing a lot of lunch and learn opportunities, and anytime we have the opportunity to connect with educators, whether it's through professional learning, we're always leveraging Magma, discussing Magma, and showing them how that they can use this tool in their classroom to support students. If there's anything about literacy, go ahead. I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you. Same as math, we are doing lunch and learns. We have been working closely with principals who have reached out to say, hey, can you come and support our grade 3 or 6 teachers? We've been answering emails in a very timely manner, and we've been working really closely with the teachers. And if they have any troubles, we're happy to go into the classroom with them and support them and their students.
We also presented with the principals and vice principals to make sure that they would bring it back to their schools, to their grade 3s and grade 6 teachers as well. So we've kind of put it on all platforms so that there's multiple areas for access.
Carol?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is an amazing platform, and I wanted to ask from a student lens and a little bit related to Trustee Simpson's question about teacher outtake as well. I know as a student and even as a parent, having that resource, even just to practice and to prepare for the literacy tests or EQAO or whatever that standardized test might be, is there a way for students or for parents to have access to this amazing tool, or would this be more of a teacher-administrated activity, sort of an in-class activity? And how can we accommodate those students who might have teachers that are more interested in traditional methods of preparation for EQAO and other tests? Thank you.
Great question. Through you, Mr. Chair. So Wayground is accessible, same with Magma. If they wanted to use it at home, they could use it as a platform. But this specific EQAO assessment is meant for in-class because we want to collect that data so that we can actually provide, so literacy, we're doing 3 per month, and then math is they're collecting all the data, and then the next month using all of that data to create a new assessment. So this is meant for classroom with the teachers, but there is an area where if the teachers wanted to create something, they could bring it home for them. But within the Wayground platform, there are accommodations that they can set so that it's individual for each student.
Trustee Moore.
Thank you very much. Kara sort of went where I was going. So as a parent with 4 IEPs, well, how would I see this reflected in their IEP when I see them at assessment time? And how is this for my gifted students not just being more tests, more tests, more tests, and not giving them what they need to develop even farther? They already know the curriculum. How does this help them develop?
Through you, Mr. Chair, from Magma's perspective, within the platform, there are 3 different question types, so mild, medium, and spicy. So there's built-in differentiation within the platform. So from a non-EQO perspective, teachers and students have access to this from grades 3 to 9 to be able to use it for purposeful, independent practice. Teachers can also leverage it within the classroom for modifications, so for your IEPs, but all the accessibility is built into the platform. So read to me, that text-to-speech, it's there, it's available to everybody. Translation for our multilingual learners, it's naturally embedded in the entire platform. This math platform was specifically chosen because of all of the accessibility features and the built-in differentiation that's just already baked into the platform.
From a literacy lens, the accommodation pieces are built in per student. So if I'm a teacher and I'm going in to set up my class, I can pre-assign accommodations for specific students, and those accommodations carry over for every aspect of Wayground that I use, whether it's a common assessment or not. So if I have a student who requires more time, we can set that. So every single activity they do on Wayground, they have more time. So it's a really nice way to take those expectations those accommodations that are in an IEP and make sure that they have that in everything that they do.
I guess as a follow-up, is it being reflected in the IEPs right now when I'm seeing the assessment or how they're assessing column in the IEP? Is it being shown there? Or are parents unaware that there is this tool to show differentiation? Have you had anything to do with the CSPA organization to let them know how you're showing these accommodations and modifications and able to use it so that parents become aware that this tool is being used for the benefit of their children, not just as another thing?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we actually do a lot of work with CSPA, and we always invite SEAC to parent evenings and all of the information. I will say the thing that excites us most about AI when I'm working with my team and working interdepartmentally is accessibility. Never before has a teacher with 30 kids with differentiated needs and translation, never before has a teacher been able to support kids in the way they're supported now. But it's a good point. We should be spending probably more time with parents. We have another session coming up. We just had a session at St. Paul, 600 people registered, and I think 250 showed up, which is a big turnout for CSPA because parents are very interested in how we're supporting their students. But it's right in our guiding principles with AI, the whole accessibility piece, and again, that's what excites us the most.
Trustee McEwen.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. I'm just wondering if other boards are using this, or are you aware?
I'm really glad, through you, Mr. Chair, I'm really glad you asked that question because the answer really is no. There's no other board in Ontario that I know of that has created platforms like this. So working directly with the vendors, Wayground and Magma, we've been instrumental working with them in order to make sure they maintain Ontario curriculum and to look at the standardized assessment as a diagnostic. I think there are some boards that may have looked at some purchased materials, but it's not like this. And interestingly, about 90 minutes ago, we were working with Google in North America, and they were bending our ear, asking us how we're doing this, because they'd like to create a platform on Gemini in order to support students with standardized assessments.
Trustee Coburn.
Thanks for the presentation. We got the EQAO results for 2025 2 board meetings ago. So were these tools used for the 2025 cohort that wrote the QAO testing? That's the first question. I have a supplemental.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Last year, yes, in math, we did leverage Magma Math. We started in January of last year, and we were just getting this started, but we did leverage it. Not quite the same way. Like the partnership that we have this year was not the same as it was not implemented last year, so we're really hoping for more uptake from teachers and students. But yes, we did start this work in math as well as literacy.
Thank you. For literacy, actually, one of the biggest pieces of feedback we received from teachers last year was that if we could start this earlier this year. So we started it last year around the end of March. This year we started the rollout at the beginning of February, and we've had nothing but praises from the teachers who saw a lot of value in this. So it's been a great turnaround this year. I would say we kind of have an improved version of what we did last year. They took a lot of our teacher feedback and they made that the center of the changes, like the accommodations that you saw. I don't know if you want to add anything. No? Okay.
Just a supplemental, so just to confirm, so it's available across the system. These two tools are available across the system to all teachers across the system, but it's contingent on their uptake of it, right? So it's up to teachers whether they want to use the tools or not.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, it is at this point. I mean, at some point we might make it compulsory. I'd like to see that personally, that it becomes a compulsory piece. But we are getting very good uptake, especially because it is kind of plug and play. The teachers, they do have to do practice. And so the opportunity to do practice with something that's already pre-created, along with the heat maps and the diagnostics, teachers are loving this. And I think it is going to be something that we'll see every teacher use.
Just a salient point with regards to that is that if you want this data, as you suggested, to be measurable, it has to be measurable in a context that's across the system, right, to a degree. So, sorry, you were going to say something.
I was just going to add that at this point, we checked this morning, and there was 1,400 students in elementary that have accessed the literacy. And Patty, what was the number for math?
Just under 3,000 students so far.
Trustee Phelan.
Through Mr. Chair, I feel like I was the only one that wasn't saying anything, so I felt compelled to say something here, but maybe just a quick positive plug. I know how anxious it is for students, obviously, to go through the program of taking this, of course, teaching as well on the teacher side of things. If you can develop a new tool, add some new software, make it easier, a little bit more adaptable, a little bit more acceptable, that's always a positive thing, right? So congratulations, great presentation today. Another positive plug for the board when it comes down to being progressive and bold on taking new steps and trying new initiatives. So congratulations.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for your presentation. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee McEwen and Trustee Warren. That the memorandum from the Superintendent of Learning Technologies dated February 18, 2026, entitled Leveraging Digital for Common Asset Assessments and EQAO Preparation be received. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. I have received no declarations of conflict of interest. Confirmation of the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 10th, 2026. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee Moore. Trustee Lukatich-Byers. That the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 10th, 2026 be adopted as presented. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item H, unfinished business from previous meetings. Never. Item I, presentation and consideration of committee reports and student trustee reports. Memo from the Director of Education, read Parent Involvement Committee minutes of December 9, 2025.
These are for receipt, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee Melito. Seconder, Trustee Phelan. The memorandum from the Director of Education dated February 19, 2026, and the report entitled Parent Involvement Committee Minutes of December 9, 2025 be received. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item J, presentation considering of staff or trustee reports. Memo from the Superintendent of Student Success Intermediate Secondary ESTA Carpentry Program and Graduation. Welcome Superintendent Kelly. Welcome Brent, Caden, and Grady.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Our Elite Skills Trades Academy comprises 3 different trades disciplines at St. Paul High School. Our second cohort of construction students graduated this past January at the school and celebrated their hard work and determination. I'm joined this evening by Brent Kaesler, our educational consultant for partnerships, as well as Caden Brennan and Grady Toshak, who are graduates of the program, and they're going to share some of the highlights. And I'll pass things over to Mr. Kaesler.
Thank you, Superintendent Kelly. Through you, Mr. Chair. Oh, these are not quite in the order I was hoping they would be, so bear with me one sec. Oh, I think we're missing a number of slides, so allow me to wing things. We had humble beginnings for this second cohort of our carpentry program. We started things out before students had even enrolled in the program. We took candidates who were interested in the program on a field trip to the new Atasoka Library construction to, one, introduce them to their future peers, because we have students coming from schools all across our board to this program, and to introduce them to the construction sector and particularly the carpentry work that was happening at that. So I don't know if you're aware of that construction, but the entire roof of that is built with reclaimed ash that was destroyed due to the Emerald Ash Borer outbreak. Incredible carpentry work being done at that location. We also did a significant amount of training at Local 93 Carpenters Union, where the students were exposed to the different skills involved in the trade, as well as a number of different industry insiders, employers, etc., that expanded their horizons. I'll pass it off to Grady to talk about experiences in employment and co-op in the program.
Hello, I'm Grady Toshak. I am an ESTA veteran, if you will. During my time at ESTA, specifically semester 1 of last year, which I spent at St. Paul, we built 4 sheds for CFB Petawawa with the local union, or Local 93, I beg your pardon. After that semester, I started working a full-time job from the start of the summer all the way through to October, midway through semester 2, throughout which I was paid and collected co-op and apprenticeship hours. Next slide, please. Oh, is it there? Okay. So, throughout this experience, we also received several accreditations and training experiences. We were certified in standard first aid, CPR level C. We learned working at heights, and at the Union Hall on Palladium Drive, we were accredited accredited for elevated work platforms, i.e. scissor lifts and genie lifts. That is all. Thank you.
Specifically at Algonquin, we had covered some things like our math literacy with our math educator and our advanced training in a technique which was welding. My name is Caden and I'm going to cover Algonquin a little bit. So specifically during our first semester, we had done a dual credit situation, which had us at every Tuesday going to work with our educator named Vince on dog houses. Then on the second semester is kind of where things became more real. We started our level 1 apprenticeship and did classes like drafting, welding, math, theory, and shop. The difference between Algonquin and our high schools were very different. It was really an experience of, we're not in Kansas anymore. But because of that, we had help from our teachers and specifically Algonquin support systems, like an educator, Miss Muldoon. With the help of everybody and everything, me and Grady both succeeded in getting our level 1 in Algonquin and during the exams and going through that process. Thank you.
Thank you, Caden. Through you, Mr. Chair, our goal in the Elite Skilled Trades Academy programs is to get students as much as we possibly can to bolster their resumes and make them the most employable students in our city. These students benefited from that greatly. So in addition to the amazing work experience that they've all had and all the employable skills that they just mentioned, they got paid work experience. So building the sheds with Local 93 was a paid opportunity, which we're very grateful for. And Local 93 was able to leverage provincial grants to outfit these students with over $1,000 in tools and equipment that will help them in the trades. They earned extensive apprenticeship hours, so the average of the class was 660 apprenticeship hours that they have under their belt, which puts them well on their way to moving towards their level 2 of apprenticeship. And they've earned 3 additional dual credits, dual high school credits, 5 credits from Algonquin College. They will all earn a SHISM diploma, and the success rate for level 1 was extremely high, much higher than the regular average for OYAP students. So the program is working, and the students have really risen above the rest to earn all those accolades. The goal of the graduation ceremony was not just to celebrate all the accomplishments, but it was also to provide the next steps for students and families to navigate this challenging pathway. So the province has made a lot of changes. So a lot of what used to be under the control of the Ministry of Labor is now under the control of an arm's length organization called Skilled Trades Ontario. And there was a lot of transition challenges that came with that transition. So we've done our best to help students and families navigate this pathway moving forward. So they have all the information necessary to be to successfully navigate the level 2 part of their apprenticeship, and they have the contact of the Skilled Trades Academy to support them moving forward if they do face challenges. So we wrapped up the program with a wonderful graduation reception. The students were all rewarded with brand new stiletto top-of-the-line hammers that will definitely assist them to be successful in the trade, wonderfully engraved with the Elite Skilled Trades Academy logo. And families were provided a professional photographer to take family photos as well. So they left home with a number of fantastic souvenirs. And we invited all the partners and employers to join us and celebrate their success as well. So it was a really wonderful evening at the end of a very long January, and I'm very grateful for the turnout that we had and very proud of what these students have accomplished. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It obviously shows that you don't have to be a scientist and going to university to be a contributing member of society and get a good job, that it's a lifelong job, and you're gonna learn different things every day till you're old like me, and I'm still working, and I work for a utility. So I've got provincial licenses, and things change, and as much as they change, they stay the same, but there's no 2 job sites that I go on that are the same. There's nuances on each one, so you gain that experience. And in my day job, I've been there almost 44 years. So good luck with your careers. Questions or comments? Trustee Melito.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Great program, big fan, and if Mr. Mullen would have had this light bulb when he was younger, he'd be building homes now and rolling in money.
Thanks, Gino.
Just a quick question with the apprenticeships. Do you, I know with carpentry, I think of a lot of things, like framing, finished carpentry, even woodworking, et cetera. Do you have a choice, or is it a little bit of everything?
Through you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, carpentry is a very varied trade. That is, it can range from concrete work to, I personally am a truss worker, to framing, what have you. There is very much a choice in what you can do, and it does include a lot of transferable skills. Thank you.
Also, I find that our teachings throughout Algonquin and with our educators really helped us learn, yes, to make a little bit of cabinets, how to make trusses, how to do each different aspect of it, so that when it came to trying to find an employer, we could find specifics because we had tried and done each of those. So I just find that yes, we can pick, but it also becomes that we were taught each different aspect and we learned a little bit of everything. Thank you.
Trustee Coburn.
Caden and Grady, so what are you guys doing now and who are you working for?
Through you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chair, I beg your pardon. As previously stated, I am a truss worker currently. I have been for the past year or so. I quite enjoy what I do, and I've learned many skills throughout. It's a constant learning process, as any job is. I work for a local company called Francoeur. They're based in Ottawa, namely French people work there, so I don't fit in quite so well. But, you know, I've had a bit of language learning as well as construction. Okay.
Is that a supplementary question? You may want to turn on your microphone then, please.
So I ended up working with Ridgecraft, and I kind of steered away a bit from carpentry specifically. I have a history in general maintenance, so I ended up doing more general repairs. But I love that. It's what I know how to do, and it let me use some of the teachings from the carpentry experience, but also let me use what I know and what I love. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I should add, these students are still active in our board. They are just started second semester of grade 12, so they've returned to their home school of All Saints, and they're completing their compulsory credits to graduate in June, which is required to earn your level 1. So that's their mission for the moment.
Father Gerard.
I just want to say, well done. Jesus was a Jewish carpenter.
Trustee Phelan.
Through you, Mr. Chair, congratulations. Great job, and it's wonderful to see the success. And of course, that picture that's top center there, looks like you gentlemen are both in the front row, so that's great job for sure. You mentioned a bunch of things at the library, the new library that's going up downtown. I had an opportunity to tour that. Absolutely amazing for you folks to have visibility and be able to check out a project of that size and magnitude. Ever cool to see, to think that you could be part of that program and one day leave a legacy behind. There's a bunch of projects going on in the city, obviously Parliament Hill and the library, of course, and others, and pretty neat that you could possibly, or have the possibility to be part of that as well. What made you choose to go into carpentry? What was your starting point back a few years ago when you said, I want to pick up a hammer, I want to swing it, I want to do something and make something of my life in the trade business?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I originally, as I had said, was working in general maintenance. I remember specifically when my co-op teacher had sent me this link for ESTA. I was sitting right next to my boss, and he looked over my shoulder at the email and was like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, oh, I just got sent this course about the Elite Skilled Trades Academy. I had known for a while that I am not much in the education department, but I know how to use my hands. So I knew that I was going to end up in a trade. It was trying to figure out which one that became the difficult aspect. So when I looked through the form and looked at my options, my boss specifically looked up and down right next to me and went, "You should go into carpentry." And I was like, "Well, why?" He was like, "I know it's for you." And that was it.
Can I correct you for a moment, Caden? You are absolutely an academic student. This level 1 is a college program, and you passed a college program in grade 12, so congrats.
Through you, Mr. Chair. From a very young age, I've always liked taking things apart with my hands. I've always been a very hands-on person. I like understanding how things work by seeing and feeling how they work. That has always kind of just been who I am, and I think that really transfers into what I do as work as well. I like working with my hands. I find that I'm able to understand how things go together very well. And that has led me to carpentry. Thank you.
Hi, I was just wondering from a former ESTA point of view, I was just wondering, what are some advice that you have for students that are interested in this pathway? Like, how can we promote this onto students? What do you guys think?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe that if we make trades more talked about, and even for younger kids, because right now in the period that me and Grady are in our life, it is very heavily pushed on to know what you're going to do in your life. And a lot of the times, especially I know for me, I had no idea what I was going to do. So I think to make apprenticeship and to make trades more talked about overall helps kids think, oh, I don't need to go to university and I don't need to go to college to succeed. I can go into the trades and still succeed in life. And I feel like if we spoke about that more and had that mentioned in classes more, like I'm starting to see now, I feel like more kids would have more of an understanding once they get to this age of what they want to do with their life.
I gotta jump in before I just got, you're going to need math no matter what you do. One, you want to get paid properly. Two, you're gonna have to buy the materials. Three, you're gonna have to negotiate with suppliers to make sure that you're getting the best price. Math is very important, and you have to write the bill for the customer and make sure you're making money. So the trade, you got no better advocate than myself here on trades, because when you're in them, and it's, as I said, it's an everyday learning experience, they are very well-paying jobs, especially when you've been around a long time. You now become the person who is teaching the apprentices, and knowledge and wisdom go a long way. Trustee Lukatich-Byers, then Trustee Moore.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, fantastic presentation, and congratulations to the two gentlemen. I just wanted to mention as well, there's a lot of talk about AI, you know, obviously it's like everywhere. And I don't know how much you've been following, but there are probably a lot of jobs, a lot of university jobs that may be obsolete within the next couple of years. And this is really, it's coming. I think it's going to be a hard thing for a lot of people. And I think being a carpenter or being a plumber or being an electrician is actually a very, very good path, because it's going to be much harder to get replaced by AI. So I think that's another big plus for you guys. And I definitely agree we should be promoting the trades more, and you know, and from a younger age as well. And you know, I think promoting it in a way as well as not like the second choice, like, oh, I can't go to university, you know, and then I'm going to the trades. But it should be really, it's a first choice, because for the reasons I mentioned as well. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of chime in with that, and congratulations again. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I can respond. So we've hired a new learning partner in our team who is focused on doing programming for grades 7 and 8s to try a trade. So that effort is happening and will be expanding next year. So you're absolutely right. That's where our focus is.
What's the chance of bringing in grade 7 and 8 industrial arts back?
Through you, Mr. Chair, not my department, unfortunately, but I support the intent.
Obviously dating myself, but that's where I got the bug. Trustee Moore.
Thanks, Caden and Grady. Great to hear from you guys, and I'll look forward to your graduations this year. Quick question, though. Did you guys take shop in grade 9 and 10, and did you actually find it helpful, or was it so broad because it has to cover so much that it didn't help at all?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I've taken a few shop classes throughout my high school career, namely construction or not construction, custom carpentry and manufacturing, both of which I think have a very simple starting point, which is easy to branch off from, but understand. You can understand the fundamentals very easily. For example, with custom carpentry, you're only really doing work with hand tools, and that is just gaining those skills of understanding how wood reacts to how you interact with it. And that is transferable to whatever you do. Thank you.
I, however, had the complete opposite. I had never taken a shop class. I'd filled that space with theater instead. And the difference is I had on-the-job experience. I had not specifically in carpentry, but as I said, I've done general maintenance. I had a lot of connections to HVAC. And going from a setting where education was seen as more of money in a way, where teaching me these skills becomes a profit, to an environment where it becomes just automatic, where it's a more educational aspect in shop, was a very interesting experience with the dynamic differences. Thank you.
Thanks very much. My supplemental, I was wondering, because you guys, as you said, you've used tools before, and you're all of a sudden stuck in a class where the teacher's got some kid holding a drill by the bit end, right? I wasn't sure if your experiences, if you would find anything in those classes, and I'm glad you did.
As you can see, everybody at the table spoke, so there's a great deal of interest in this, and congratulations on what you've done, and good luck in your future endeavors. We have a little token of appreciation for you, so if you two gentlemen come up to the middle. I'm going to grab Trustee Melito on the way by, and you're going to get your picture taken. Of course, the teacher advisor come up as well. Can I get a mover for the presentation, please? Trustee Phelan. And Trustee Lukatich-Myers. That the memorandum from the Superintendent of Student Success Intermediate Secondary dated February 18, 2026, entitled ESTA Carpentry Program and Graduation be received. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 2, memo from the Superintendent of Continuing Community Education, International Student Recruitment. Welcome, Superintendent Hopkins. Welcome, Jill, Sinead, and Gigi. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm accompanied this evening by 2 members of our international student team, Jill Bizana, Transition Associate, and Sinead Sang, Guidance Counselor. We're also joining us this evening is Gigi Look, an international student at St. Pius X. Can we get the next slide, please? The International Student Program has grown steadily, and this year we have successfully met our goal of maintaining enrollment at 200 students. We're pleased with the program's growth and the value it brings to the board. International students enrich our classrooms, strengthen cultural diversity, and foster a deeper understanding of global citizenship, compassion, and inclusion across our school communities. With competitive tuition, the program generates revenue for the board, while recruitment focuses on strong marketing and building lasting partnerships. Student well-being is central to the program, with a key focus on keeping students informed, engaged, and supported throughout their OCSB journey, which you'll hear about more about in this presentation.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you very much for this opportunity. Our students arrive with diverse backgrounds, varying lengths of stay, and unique academic goals. Prior to their arrival, I have the pleasure of meeting with them and conducting virtual consultations with the students, but also often their families and their agents, to align the program expectations and to make their course selections. I communicate the student goals and their interests to the school teams to ensure that their schedules are finalized before their arrival, and where possible, connections are made with teachers who run clubs and teams. I also act as as a primary bridge between school staff, families, and agents. I share information to students and families to help them navigate the Ontario education system while ensuring students meet the specific academic requirements of their home countries. I also identify struggling students and share options in collaboration with the Transition Associate and also my school partners, to share options for support through resources such as TVO Mathify, peer tutoring that's available in the schools, and through direct teacher instruction. Another part of my job is to guide students in adapting to life in Ottawa and engaging in school culture. I conduct regular check-ins to monitor academic progress, whether they are tracking toward an Ontario diploma or they plan to return to their home country. I also provide collaborative support and partner closely with our school-based guidance counselors and the International Student Transition Associate to ensure a holistic, seamless experience for each student. So this year, we've welcomed students from 31 countries. This diversity brings unique cultures, perspectives, and talents to our school communities and enriches the lives of the students who come, but also our domestic students. We ensure a seamless start for our students through a 2-phase orientation process for our September and our February intakes. Prior to their arrival, we host virtual sessions for families and students to set expectations and answer pre-departure questions. Once they have arrived, we host an immersive orientation day designed to build community. We focus on 3 specific pillars: building community, through icebreakers and our games to foster peer connections so that they are connected with their international student peers before they go to the school. We also cover academics and logistics so that they understand how the Ontario system works in terms of assessment, school supplies that they need to bring to school, and also sort of the routines of how the school day goes. We also cover sort of a Life in Canada section where we cover cultural and classroom norms and navigating Ottawa's distinct seasons. Finally, we conclude a guided tour of downtown Ottawa to help students feel at home in their new city. To give you a better sense of the energy and excitement of these days, let's take a look at this short video.
Thank you, Sinead. As the International Student Transition Associate, I provide personalized support to international students during their time at the OCSB, helping them settle into school life, access supports, and feel welcomed and confident in their new community. I collaborate with our homestay partner, MLI, as well as agents and parents to support student wellness and ensure smooth transitions to life in Ottawa. Students engage through orientation days, activities, events, and ongoing communication via newsletters and social media. Personal touches such as birthday greetings, departure certificates, and souvenirs to celebrate their journey help foster belonging. Each month, one student is featured in the newsletter to share their experience in Canada and receives a framed copy to bring home with them. These initiatives align with the OCSB's spiritual theme for year 2. We are called to build bridges by helping students feel welcomed, connected, and supported within our school communities. Next slide, please. So far this year, we've hosted 4 activities with 4 more scheduled. Participation has grown significantly. Last school year, 71 students attended across 7 events, whereas this year, we've already welcomed 143 participants in just 4 events. Our activities are diverse and fun and focus on Canadian culture, from cooking classes, introducing students to Canadian cuisine, to 67s hockey and Ottawa Red Blacks football games, Saunders Farm Fright Fest, bowling, Park Omega, and more. We also run exciting contests to encourage our international students to share their Canadian experiences. Highlights include our Halloween costume contest, Explore the Outdoors Challenge, and this year we held a new contest where students submitted pictures of themselves participating in school clubs or teams, showcasing how they've become involved in their school community. Here's the video showing this contest submissions. Play video, please. Next slide, please. It is my pleasure to introduce Gigi Look. A native of Hong Kong, she has been studying as an international student at St. Pius X High School since September 2023.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the founder of the Welcoming Club, where we support international students and newcomers to feel comfortable in our school. Most of my leadership work is through the Asian Student Association, where I serve as a leader. Through ASA, I organize activities that celebrate different Asian cultures and bring students together. For example, during Lunar New Year, our team ran a food salad in the cafeteria. Many students participate, and it was a great way to share cultures with school community. We also support Third Falls Day for organizing fundraising sales to encourage students to give back. In addition to the fundraising, we also focus on arts and cultural learning. During Christmas time, we held an arts and crafts activities where we made pearl lanterns for the Philippines. This helps students learn about Filipino cultures in a hands-on and meaningful way. Through these ASA activities, I've developed skills in teamwork, communications, and event planning. More importantly, I've seen how cultural clubs can help students feel included and connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi. That concludes our presentation. We're happy to take any questions.
Trustee Lukatich Myers.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the presentation. So I do have a couple of maybe a comment or two and then some questions. I like what you mentioned about the domestic students as well, because I think it's a two-way street. I think our local students benefit a lot as well from those friendships and contacts and exposures to different cultures, et cetera. So that's a fantastic thing for sure. So I wanted to ask a little bit also related to the cost. So I understand that the tuition is around $15,000. It's increased a little bit this year, but then there is the additional cost of room and board, if I can put it that way. So my understanding is it's usually with host families. So I was just wondering how that works in terms of if you can provide some numbers in terms of costing, and then also is there and I'm sure there is, some kind of mechanism whereby we as a board can kind of ensure that, the accommodation is to a certain standard and the whole thing surrounding with the host family, et cetera. So that's one, Mr. Chair, if I can do a couple of questions. Sorry, I'm gonna be. There's a lot of interesting things to unpack here. So the other thing I just wanted to ask was also the ambassador part. And I was just thinking, is there a buddy system where? Because I'm thinking like if you're a high school kid and you go to another country. Perhaps like very, very far away, it must be scary. So is there, somebody you get paired with that, you can always kind of ask questions and have someone, it's also not easy as a teenager to kind of make friends and, break into, the kind of social groups and that. So is there a way to kind of help with that? And then just lastly, I'm interested, Gigi, if you could tell us what's kind of the best thing, kind of the one key thing, the benefit of the fact that you've come here to Canada. Like, what would it be like, English language skills, or would it be something else? So anyway, sorry about the whole list there. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we're
Gigi,
just
take your time.
game planning which question we're going to answer first. So I think we're going to begin with Gigi.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the question, like the purpose why I'm going to come to Canada. So the main point is I want to learn English because English obviously is not my first language, and my first language is Cantonese, is Chinese. So a really big difference about like the language, and also like my sister been here like almost 10 years. So, but like 2023, I just came with her and gathering with her and with her again in another country. So I think this is the main reason that I want to came here, like be with my sister and learn English.
Through you, Mr. Chair, for the homestay piece, we do partner with a homestay company called MLI. Their costs per annually are about $15,000 per year. And in terms of doing the screening, so they do their own screening for homestay. I do work closely with the student care supervisor who is in Ottawa, and she and I communicate quite a bit just to ensure that those transitions are happening well and students are happy at their homestay and they're doing well at school. So overseeing that wellness piece.
A couple of just sort of additional notes. They have a pretty comprehensive process, includes getting vulnerable sector checks and home visits, like was mentioned. Not all of our students they also take responsibility for guardianship. So if something was to happen on the evening and the weekends, if there's a medical emergency, they're there to support students. So many of our students are housed through MLI. But we have many other arrangements like Gigi's, where she lives with a family member. So we do have a number of students who live in Ottawa with family or extended family. So it's not the only arrangement, but a large number of our students are supported through MLI.
And I believe you had a third question through you, Mr. Chair, about arranging students to be with the buddy system or connecting students. So I would say each one of our high schools has their own process of doing that. We have newcomer clubs that support students that way. We have a peer mentorship programs. We have often also through the ESL credit classes, if students are placed in ESL credit, often those teachers are also involved in connecting new students with students who have already been here. I also collaborate with our guidance teams, and in our guidance, in all of our schools, the guidance counselors frequently partner the student up with another student who's been there a while to be able to bring them to class on the first day, connect them to take them on a tour. So in all of our schools, I would say there's a process at work to help connect students. It's just looks a little different depending on the school.
Trustee Melito, we'll do this side for.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just a couple of quick questions. International students that graduate from our high school, how many of them stay in Canada and continue university here in Ontario or in Canada? And if so, do they gain an advantage by graduating from our schools, or they have to go back, or they be considered applying from their home country? Does that make sense?
Are they given preferential treatment going to high school here?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So at this time, in this presentation, I'm not prepared to say the number of students that will be staying here in Ontario this year or even last year for university or college. I do hear regularly from the students the importance of the Ontario School Diploma and the importance of if they have studied with us for 3 years or longer, they are not usually required to write an additional language test to get into university. So whether that be IELTS or the various language tests that they would have to write to prove their level of proficiency, those are often waived for them as a result.
Trustee Coburn.
So the number's 200. So some post-secondary institutions have been impacted by federal legislation with regards to immigration and things like that. It doesn't look like our numbers have been impacted by that. Can you comment on that, Brent?
Well, they haven't been impacted insofar as we've been able to maintain around 200. That's been through a lot of work on the international team's part. So over the summer, there were some delays for sure in study permits being issued. That caused some stress. I know for students who were waiting, ready to arrive, and our team that was here supporting them, as well as the homestay. But in the end, most of those went through. There's no doubt there's a knock-on effect in the market of two things. One, the changes in immigration numbers, and the second, the lowering in terms of number of students, international students that are able to pursue post-secondary studies. So even though, you know, the market we're in, which is K to 12, isn't directly impacted, indirectly, you know, outside the country, you know, there's concern about the sense that maybe Canada isn't as open as it used to be. So we potentially, or we were on a path to potentially even higher numbers, but we always want to maintain a number that's very manageable, where students have a very positive experience and that all the supports are in place. So we're very happy with the number we're at, but it does take a significant effort to maintain where we are.
And I've got one for Gigi as well. So you said you came to Canada to learn English. You speak excellent English after only 3 years, and you came to Canada to stay with family, so you're staying with family. What do you like most about Canada now that you've been here? Hockey, snow, maple syrup?
Through Mr. Chair, so I came here like 3 years, and thank you for that. I have a excellent English, as you said, but I think a lot of things I have to improve too. A lot of ways in English I still have to improve. I went to like Rideau Canal last year. I think this is the favorite thing I like because I really like skating. Ice skating is my favorite one.
Well, it's supposed to be cold for a while yet, so. Kira.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say thank you for your presentation. And I know as a student on social media, I've seen a lot of the OCSB international posts and all of the great work you're doing. So I just wanted to say congratulations on that. And also I wanted to say it's great to see Gigi here, a fellow St. Pius ex-member of the student leadership community. And I wanted to say what a great job you're doing as well with all of the ASA leadership initiatives. So I just want to say, yeah, thank you for a great presentation. It's great to hear about and see how all of this work is being realized in the school community. So thank you.
Trustee Foon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just echoing my fellow trustee sentiments here as well. I'm a graduate of Pius. I think there's one in the back there as well. I think there's one over here. Sean, you went to Pius? Did you graduate though? You did? Okay, sorry, bad joke. But nonetheless, we're all friendly around. We're all friendly around here. Question for: how did you end up at Pius? How did that work out that you ended up at Pius? Was family in close proximity to the school, and that's how you ended up there, or how did it work out that you ended up at St. Pius?
Through Mr. Chair, so the reason that I chose Pius because like it's kind of near my home. I live in Merivale, so it's really near my home. I study like Catholic school in Hong Kong like since I was grade 1 until grade 9 before I came here. So my mom wanted me to have like a Catholic like school too because she thinks it's more safe and everything. So the nearest to my home is like Pius. So and also I need ESL, and at that time Pius offered ESL program. So I came to Pius and I applied for Pius.
You chose a great school.
Thank you.
All of our schools are great. Not just those that are Pius graduates, yeah. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for your presentation. We have a little gift for you, and I'm going to bring Trustee Lukatich-Byers, if you want to come up to the front and get a picture taken. Mover, please, for the report. Trustee Lukatich-Byers, second by Trustee Melito, that the memorandum from the Superintendent of Continuing and Community Education dated February 24th, 2026, entitled International Student Recruitment be received. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Memo from the Associate Director of Education, Student Achievement Plan Update, February 24th, 2026. Welcome, Associate Director Bellotti.
So good evening, Mr. Chair. As you are aware, all schools are required to complete and submit a Student Achievement Plan, or affectionately known as SAP. This presentation will share a process in supporting schools this year with their SAP. Oh, here we go. Okay. Feedback from the 25-26 school student achievement plan resulted in a streamlined SAP, which offered more opportunities for school to actively monitor their strategies. The Ministry of Education's mandated indicators serve as the framework for this year's school SAPs. These indicators are also monitored by the ministry. The three main priorities also align with the OCSB strategic commitments of achievement and outcomes for core skills, so be innovative, preparation for future success, so be community, and student engagement and well-being, so be well. This visual has been shared in previous years and continues to be the foundation for the Student Achievement Plan. School SAPs were differentiated to allow the elementary and secondary panels to focus on the ministry indicators most relevant for each school. Connections to Catholic education, building bridges, and the board's frameworks were woven into the strategies selected by the schools. When you compare the visuals and icons from the 2024-25 school year to the 25-26 school years, the icons of spiritual theme, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and Indigenous education are not front-facing. Schools are integrating these into the SAP in a multidisciplinary approach. And in addition, we want schools to focus their time on targeted strategies with precise implementation. Staff this year have received professional development on deep learning, connected to assessment and evaluation, focusing on observation and conversation. The professional development has been organized to support the ministry's goals of the Student Achievement Plan. Schools are reviewing the importance of growing success and the triangulation of evidence for learning. And the professional development is designed to help school staff unpack assessment and evaluation methods that provide students with richer opportunities to demonstrate their knowledge. There has been excellent feedback from schools about this approach, and our focus is to capture student learning in our assessment and evaluation practices. An emphasis has also been placed on increased opportunities for schools to monitor their SAP goals. Time has been provided to administrators at their central leaders learning meetings to facilitate deeper dives into tools and available schools. Requests for our central staff to provide professional development demonstrate how schools and individual teachers are working with our CEC staff to improve student achievement. Requests include opportunities to develop critical thinking in the use of artificial intelligence, using Magna Math heat map data to facilitate small group instruction, and collaboration to notice and name some best and strong practices already occurring in the schools as they relate to their SAP. And all of this is captured in each school's plan. Conversations about successes and stretches happen at each family school's visits. Superintendents engage with administrators about best practices and next step for desired outcomes. Schools identified in the Math Achievement Action Plan as a priority school have taken part in math-related networks to improve math scores. Both principal and vice principal groups have had direct support at central meetings to support opportunities, including more student voice and monitoring. Student success teachers and guidance teams in the secondary panel are consistently monitoring data about earned credits. Mr. Chair, at a future meeting, I'll be bringing forward a high school as well as an elementary school to share their respective SAPs. Since you've already received presentations this current year around our other goals around math and also some EQAO information, I'll bring forward schools that focus on other areas in the SAP. So, for example, St. Bernard will share how they are engaging students on the schoolyard with cooperative play. Obviously, this helps them be prepared when they return to class for in-class learning. And St. Pius will share their plan to improve student attendance, which also promotes in-class learning. So, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions about our student achievement plan.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Trustee Moore.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. When we were looking at the slide that said what the priorities were from the ministry, has the ministry changed with some of their priorities? I specifically percentage of students that attend more than 90%. Because one good flu, cold, case of head lice could take some of them out. Has the ministry recognized that that is not unachievable, but a meandering goal, like 90%?
So through you, Mr. Chair, so while the actual indicator's not changed, I think they do recognize that attendance in some areas or some communities is a challenge for students. And so we've done a lot of work through our Special Education and Student Services Department around that. So they've not changed the number, but they do recognize that is an area of need that we do need to focus on. And I think you'll find the presentation from St. Pius quite interesting, because we're looking at that one to see if it's scalable. So the department's been working closely with Superintendent Benton on that one.
And supplemental, so when they're recognizing that there's more to their question than just a number, are they putting money behind it to help schools?
So through you, Mr. Chair, we continue to receive sizable grants around mental health and mental wellness support. So it would fall into that category, specifically in terms of the question around attendance and growth, or our support around that.
Kira.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm just looking at the deep learning framework and also the frameworks and supports, and I was wondering in specific to AI, if I know there's a big calling within our student senate, within our student community, to have a certification or an AI project for students to learn more about how to navigate this tool, so they can feel themselves that they're also certified in addition to their teachers. I'm just curious, from a board-wide, a big framework perspective, if this is something being talked about or explored at all. Thank you.
So through you, Mr. Chair, obviously, as you know, AI is a continued focus for us. We've not articulated very closely a specific program or in terms of certification for students around AI, but that is something I can bring back to Superintendent Edwards. I'm sure he's probably smiling behind you right now, thinking that's a great idea. So we do have a lot of AI projects on the go. A specific certification program we'll look into, though.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for your presentation. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee Simpson, you have a question? Sorry.
Yes, I do. I was waving at you. I really like, through you, Mr. Chair, I really like the streamlined SAP, and I was wondering if the basis for this was because of feedback from last year, and how this streamlined SAP is being met with the schools now, because it seems to be a little less overwhelming, and I think that it is more natural to integrate the other areas into the streamlined SAP. So I'm just looking for, a comment about how we arrived at this new format.
So through you, Mr. Chair, so I think it was more of an evolution than a specific timeline or direction. When we look at the items that were there, so for example, if we look at these certain areas around equity and diversity, it's important, I think, initially to have them as standalone topics, because we definitely want it to be a focus. Afterwards, we want to see that integrated into a variety of areas of the curriculum and what's happening at school. So that was the initial starting point. The evolution of it then moved forward with the feedback we received from school principals and school staff to say, now let's not reduce quality, let's reduce the number of goals and focus on the strategies and the implementation and go deeper with it. So then we can see that embedded in a variety of areas of the student achievement plan, as opposed to it remaining as a standalone. I think the standalone part was very important at the beginning, but it's the process, the evolution of how do we embed it across other areas of what we're doing across our schools.
Would you like to move the motion, Trustee Simpson? Moved by trustee Simpson, seconded by trustee Moore, that the memorandum from the Associate Director of Education dated February 18, 2026, and entitled Student Achievement Plan Update, February 24, 2026, be received. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. There's no new business. There's no notice of motions. Can I have a mover for the confirmation of the action report, please? Trustee Coburn and trustee Moore. The action report of February 10th be received. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Administrative announcements. Madam Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have a few announcements this evening. First of all, just to let everyone know that we had our first Indigenous Student Forum last Friday, February 20th, in this room, in the boardroom. And so this was run by Indigenous students in our boards, attended by Indigenous students from our secondary schools, some of which have ISAs or Indigenous Student Associations. And it was supported by the Indigenous team at the CEC, but also by our community partners who were able to attend. So it was very well received, very well done. Second, Kiara and Jaden were more involved in this than I certainly was, and they'll be making a little presentation in a future board meeting. But again, in this room, today we had the student trustee elections. And so we had representatives from each of our high schools. And I think it was harder than getting my current job. Like the number of rounds you have to do, I know from past years of giving speeches and presenting to fellow students. But there were two new student trustees elected for the next school year. And I'm happy to announce that they are Lydia Asani from Notre Dame and Justin Peter MR from Holy Trinity, who I believe has presented to us before this year from one of our schools. We have a number of birthdays that have either just happened or will be shortly before our next board meeting. So I would like to give a belated happy birthday to Stephanie Dunn, who just had her birthday on Sunday, February 22nd. And then we have two trustees who have upcoming birthdays. I cannot reveal my sources or say any other details, but I understand that both are milestone birthdays and maybe different milestone birthdays. So one is Cindy Simpson on March 2nd, and the second is Scott Phelan on March 3rd. So we wish them happy birthday a little bit early. And last but by no means least, Superintendent Brent Hopkins has a birthday on March 7th. I haven't been told that his is a milestone one, but I could be wrong. Just a reminder, it is? It is too? Just a reminder that our next board meeting is on March 24th, just after the March break. And so I would like to wish everyone who gets to celebrate or take time off during the March break to enjoy it and to be safe. That's the end of my announcements, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I was notified of some very good news for a former trustee of this board right before the board meeting started. So it has come to my attention that Councillor Glenn Gower is going to put a motion at Ottawa City Council tomorrow morning. I'm going to read what he said, and I've spoken to him, and we're going to write a letter from the board in recognition of the trustees' work as well. Wednesday morning at City Council, Glenn Gower will be introducing a motion for a commemorative naming to honor John Curry and John Brumwell. John Curry was a longtime editor and publisher of the Stittsville News. As well, he was an avid local historian and author. He also served as a Catholic school board trustee for over 20 years. John Brumwell worked for decades as a writer and photographer for the Stittsville News and was involved in many volunteer organizations in the community. If approved, the new park at 785 Cope Drive in Stittsville will be named Curry Brumwell Park in honor of their outstanding service and the enduring impact on the community of Stittsville and the city of Ottawa. And then, of course, there's a 2.5-page motion where the whereases and wherefores, therefores, detail contributions that both Johns made to Stittsville, to our board, and that's why I talked to the director and we're going to write a letter, how do we say it, background for John Curry and all the, everything that he did for the board. If you don't know this, The reason we have French immersion in every school is because John Curry thought it wasn't fair that kids be bused to a different school to take French immersion. And that goes back probably 15 years. And he convinced the rest of us that were sitting around the table at the time that every child should be given the opportunity for French immersion, and we should find the money to put it in every school, which changed our board. And it's people like that that are committed to our board and making changes for the better for the kids. So I will wholeheartedly be involved in writing a letter so that John has a long-time memory of a park that anybody in Stittsville, we got the mayor of Stittsville here, Trustee Phelan, that when they walk by, I'm sure there'll be a link to find out who was John Curry and what did he do. And he cared for the community, and he cared for the children in the school board, and he was a great trustee. So this is very good news that this will happen tomorrow. It'll be a notice of the motion tomorrow at the council, and it'll be presented for a vote in 2 or 3 weeks, Glenn told me this evening. So I love great news like that. And back to, can I get a mover to adjournment, please? Trustee Melito. Trustee Warren? That the regular board meeting of February 24, 2026 be adjourned at 8:42 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. There will be a test. I said there would be. How many students do we have in our board? What's our annual budget? How many portables do we have? How many schools do we have? Thank you very much for coming.